To celebrate, Columbia Pictures re-releasing all 8 live-action Spider-Man movies in theaters, I am giving you my review on all 8 of those live-action Spider-Man movies each week. Today, I'm giving you my thoughts on The Amazing Spider-Man. I absolutely love this movie far more than most people, I think. I think this may be one of my favorite Spider-Man movies. And the main reason for that is just because I have very deep nostalgia for this movie. This was the first Spider-Man movie that I saw in theaters. The year that it came out, I got the movie on Blu-ray for Christmas, and I would watch it on repeat. I got the suit for Christmas. I would wear the suit non-stop. I wish I had a picture of it. I don't think I do. But I got the Amazing Spider-Man 1 suit, and I would wear it from the time I got home from school to the time I went to bed. If I could have worn it to school, I probably would have. That's how much I loved it, and I pretended that I was Spider-Man and jumping off furniture and stuff. I think this movie, I loved the Raimi trilogy very much when I was a kid. But if I'm being completely honest, this was the movie that really pushed me forward into loving Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield is my favorite interpretation of Spider-Man. And you can just tell that he loves playing this role. I mean, listen to this. You hear that scream and you tell me that that is not a man who f***ing loves playing Spider-Man. I mean, of course he does. Who wouldn't? But that's what makes this movie so fun to watch for me, is seeing Andrew Garfield just have a total blast in the role. He's a bit more comedic of a Spider-Man than we saw in the Raimi trilogy. He's a lot more fun with his kind of quips and jokes. That again goes along with Andrew Garfield just totally having a blast. I love Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy. Gwen Stacy is my favorite love interest that we've gotten in any of these live-action Spider-Man movies. The relationship and the chemistry between Peter and Gwen is absolutely amazing in these movies, I think, and is another big part of why I love them so much. I think it just works. Now, this movie isn't perfect. I don't think Lizard is an amazing villain, and I think the whole motivation for him of wanting to turn the city into lizards because their reptiles are like stronger and smarter than humans, just better all around than humans. I don't love that. I think that definitely could have been better, and I think Lizard could have been a little bit better of a villain. But I think for the kind of vibe that this movie has, I think it works. I mean, we don't really need, since it technically is an origin story for this Peter Parker, we don't really need a super complicated villain. So I think, in a way, it does work just having Lizard as a kind of more simple first villain. I do kind of like the way that they set up the Lizard with Dr. Kirk Connors. Rhys Ifans plays the character really well. I love his character in this movie, and I think they set it up in an interesting way with him just losing one arm. He's lost an arm and he wants to grow back, and lizards have the ability to regrow limbs, so he thinks if he can use lizard DNA somehow, he can regrow that arm. And I think that's a really interesting way to set that up. I understand his motivation in what he's doing. It's only when he actually becomes the lizard character that it starts getting a little off the rails there, I think. But with his particular character, I understand where he's coming from, and I like the way that they set that up. One thing that I think this movie did well is I think they did a good job of still rebooting this story and doing the same story of Peter gets bitten by a spider, he gets his powers, Uncle Ben dies, and then he has to come to terms with great power comes great responsibility. and he has to fight lizards, save the city, everything. They technically do all the same storylines, all the story plots from the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie, but they do it in slightly different ways that it still feels fresh and it feels like a different story. I think they did that well. I also like that they give a little bit more mystery to this version of Spider-Man's parents, kind of setting up that his parents were involved with Oscorp in some way, and there's a lot of mystery behind that plot. And in this movie, and in the second one as well, Peter just wants to get to know more about his parents because he was very young when they died. He doesn't really remember them that much. And so that mystery intrigues Peter in this movie, and he's just wanting to learn more about them. And he dives into his father's research. So I like that they did that as well, kind of adding more mystery to his parents' backstory in this one. Also, just a few different scenes in particular that I want to talk about. I love when Peter's on the bridge kind of saving people for the very first time as Spider-Man. He saves the little boy in the car, and he has to hold it up, and he gives the boy his mask, and he says, "Put it on, it's going to make you strong." And then when they finally get to the top, he finally name drops. He says, "I'm Spider-Man." He finally takes on that title, that burden. Overall, I love this movie. I love The Amazing Spider-Man. Like I said, it might be one of my favorite Spider-Man movies. We'll see. At the end of all of these, I'm going to do a ranking of all the live-action Spider-Man movies, so I can't wait to see where this one ends up. But I do love it, and I think I almost like it more and more every single time I watch it. Those are my thoughts on the first Amazing Spider-Man. What do you think? That is all I have for you today. What do you think of this movie? Stay tuned for my review on the other live-action Spider-Man movies coming in the next couple weeks. Until my next video, like this video, subscribe to my channel. It would really mean a lot. And keep watching movies. Goodbye.